Hey everyone and welcome. In this guide, you'll be learning the best drills you can do to increase your headshot accuracy along with better tracking of moving targets. Not only that, but you'll learn the 3 fundamental concepts you need to master in order to instantly see results. The information and drills in this guide aren't just based on one person's opinion. Rather, they're a culmination of research of the top pros and coaches, along with the science to back it up. And remember, if you want more premium guides that truly help you improve every single day, then make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and like the video. Alright, before we get into drills for improving your headshots, we first need to cover the 3 fundamental pillars of getting headshots. First, looking at sensitivity. It's important to have a sensitivity that is not too high. When choosing your sensitivity, you need to understand the concept of EDPI, or effective dots per inch. EDPI is the only way to accurately assess your true sensitivity, and it is calculated by multiplying your in-game sensitivity by your mouse's DPI. For example, a mouse DPI of 800 times an in-game sensitivity of 0.5 gives you an EDPI of 400. Just tracking your in-game sensitivity or your mouse's DPI alone is not enough information to know how fast your mouse will move in-game. We recommend an EDPI between 200 and 600, and preferably under 400 as most of the pros have it. But it's important to keep in mind that your sense should be comfortable for you. That being said, the lower the sensitivity you are comfortable with, the better. If you're aiming at someone's head with a high sensitivity and your mouse slips a little bit, you might whiff, but with a low sensitivity, small movements of your mouse won't throw off your aim as much while letting you make finer adjustments. Moving on to crosshair placement, probably the most important factor in getting more headshots. Make sure that you are always keeping your crosshair in a relevant position. Normally that means watching an angle an opponent can emerge from, aimed at head height. By having good crosshair placement, you greatly reduce the amount of work you have to do in order to shoot at somebody's head. The farther you have to move your crosshair in order to get to your opponent's head, the harder it is to get that accurate movement in the time you have to get the kill. When you're in game, try to be aware of where your crosshair is. When you notice where it is, ask yourself if that crosshair position will help you if you get peeked right now. Based on your answer, you can adjust your crosshair and make your next shot much easier to hit. When aiming at an angle, it's important not to hold your crosshair too close to the wall. If your opponent peeks, they will likely generate some space between them and the wall, and you will end up having to flick to them, defeating the purpose of good crosshair placement. In the same vein, you cannot keep your crosshair too far from the wall, as you will have to flick towards them if they don't peek that wide. Your goal is to find this sweet spot, where you're prepared for a duel and don't have to adjust too much if they slow peek or if they wide peek. It is also important to take your time when you are trying to improve your headshot percentage. This means no longer trying to flick as fast as you can on opponents, and instead consciously trying to slow down to work on accuracy. At first, slowing yourself down to take the time to aim at their heads will feel awful. You'll probably lose more duels than normal and you will feel like you aren't making progress. But if you try to improve by just forcing yourself to flick in the direction of their head more quickly than you're comfortable with, you can end up training bad habits and hurting your aim in the long term. Practice does not magically make you better. You have to practice specifically what you are trying to improve. That's why it's crucial that you first focus on accuracy, and then add speed as you get more comfortable. Psychology research done at Florida State University showed that the best way to improve a skill is when your practice pushes your limit, but not too far that your attempts are nowhere close to what you're trying to do. By using a relatively low sensitivity that you are comfortable with, keeping your crosshair at head level and aimed where you expect opponents to come from, and taking your time when training to aim at the head, you will see immediate gains in your ability to get headshots in-game. But these drills are not the be-all and end-all of improving your ability to get headshots. I have some drills that you can do in the practice range that are extremely useful for improving your accuracy. The first part of each drill is called ghosting. It's a warm-up for the real thing and is a good way to get yourself warm and in the mental space to get headshots. Enter the range and select a difficulty that you think you could comfortably score at least 50% on. This number is based on the Florida State University research on skill development referenced earlier. Remember, we want to push ourselves without failing too many of our practice reps. Once you've done this, start the skill test. And as the bots appear, just flick from head to head without shooting. If you find yourself struggling to keep pace with the appearing bots, you should turn down the difficulty. Shooting seems simple. After all, it's just one click of the mouse. But by taking out shooting, we can completely isolate our flicking as a skill as we go from bot to bot, aiming at their head. Isolating the skill you want to practice is always the most effective way to train it. And even though clicking your mouse doesn't seem that distracting, the mental space the shot and looking at the result of the shot takes up clouds our awareness. After at least 2 rounds of 30 bots, you can begin the second part of the drill, which is the exact same, but now we shoot the targets instead of just flicking to their heads. To reiterate, make sure that you are able to score at least 50% each time, otherwise the difficulty is too high. When you're failing more than half your reps in practice, your practice is extremely suboptimal, and as mentioned before, can be detrimental if you are ingraining bad habits. When you're doing this drill, make sure you only shoot once at each bot. You can definitely get higher scores if you shoot more than 1 bullet at each bot, but we're here to train our flicking and tap shooting, not to stroke our egos. That being said, we still want to keep track of our scores for this drill, because goal setting and tracking your progress are integral parts of improvement. After finishing the first drill, we want to focus on situations other than tap shooting and flicking, and that is covered by tracking and burst firing. Due to the limited nature of movement in this game, tracking isn't as intense as, say, Overwatch for example, but it's still extremely important. As in our last drill, we begin our tracking warm-up with ghosting. This time, enter the practice range settings and set the bot to strafe before beginning the practice mode rather than the skills test. Pick one bot and try to lock onto its head. Follow it as it moves and stops erratically without taking your crosshair away from your target. I would recommend doing this for at least 60 seconds, but really do it until you feel you are comfortable with tracking the bot. Then, pick your bot and wait for it to move. As it moves, try to fire a burst of shots and kill the bot with a headshot. For this drill, it's preferable that you use a rifle like the Phantom or the Vandal. After you kill one bot, move on to the next. Follow the bot's head and shoot a burst only when it is in motion. It's important to avoid shooting at a stationary bot if you can, because for this drill, our goal is to isolate our ability to headshot moving targets. Once you're comfortable tracking with the rifles, you can increase the quality of your training by using a Spectre to increase the shots required to kill and push yourself even further. You can do this drill for as long as you want, and once you're finished, you can feel free to exit the range. So why is doing drills so important? We already discussed the importance of isolating skills you want to work on and how that's the best way to improve a skill. But it's also important to know how our brain keeps track of our skills and improves at them. Skills such as aiming fall under the class of procedural memory. This is a type of implicit memory, meaning an unconscious long-term memory that guides our actions without conscious awareness of the experience. This is based on the research of Paul Fitts in 1954 in a paper titled "The Information Capacity of the Human Motor System in Controlling the Amplitude of Movement." In this paper, he developed a model for the acquisition of procedural skills. He found that repeated practice improved and consolidated these types of skills in the brain. Using this model, you can trust that doing drills like the ones I gave in this video will improve your brain's procedural memory for aiming, so long as you are building up your speed gradually to limit the mistakes that you commit to memory. That is why drills are so important to developing yourself as a player, and isolating specific things in training is much more effective than only trying to get better by playing games. You might notice that I provided a drill for flicking and tapping, as well as a drill for tracking and bursting, but no drill for spraying. Spray control is extremely important, and the muscle memory involved has to be practiced if you want to improve. The aim of the drills I have provided are to increase your headshot percentage and reduce your time to kill in crucial duels and skirmishes. If you're looking to learn more about spraying, check out the info card in the top right of the screen for our guide on spray control. Alright, so what aspect of shooting do you think you need to improve the most at? Tapping, tracking, or spraying? Let us know in the comment section below, as it gives us great feedback on what to tailor our guides towards. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and like the video to get more premium guides just like this one with one goal in mind: helping you become a better player. We here at SkillCapped want to sincerely thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.